If you still think the silence from Hollywood heavyweights around Donald Trump was unbreakable, watch what happens when Tom Hanks finally speaks and Jimmy Kimmel airs the full statement tonight. 47 million people have already seen fragments of this segment. Less than 2% caught the exact moment the entire narrative around Trump's public image began to unravel in real time. The aftermath spread outward before the studio lights even dimmed. Clips segmented into more than a dozen pieces within minutes, racing across platforms at different speeds. News networks cut into programming with urgent graphics. Trump's digital responses escalated rapidly, but public attention had already locked onto something deeper than politics. The visible shift when one of America's most trusted voices stepped forward without reservation. Here is what actually happened inside that studio, moment by moment. In the present, the Ed Sullivan Theater felt charged with a different kind of electricity. Jimmy Kimmel sat centered, calm, the weight of the evening already apparent in his posture. The crew moved with deliberate care, sensing this was no ordinary segment. Tom Hanks stood ready, his presence grounded, the kind earned through decades of roles that mirrored American conscience. Past timelines flickered in memory. Years of measured public silence from Hanks on divisive figures, broken now under studio lights with precision and moral clarity. Trump appeared via remote feed, projecting broad confidence, the familiar claiming of space even through a screen. When Kimmel introduced a segment and Hanks began, the dynamic tilted immediately. Hanks spoke with the quiet authority of a man who had chosen his words carefully over time. Trump responded with the expected dominance barrage. He hit ratings first, then relevance of celebrities in politics, personal attacks on Hollywood elites, power claims about who truly spoke for the country, dismissal of the entire format. Your show used to pull real numbers. Without me, this is just noise. Bitter actors chasing relevance. I built movements. People come for winners. Kimmel and Hanks remained completely silent through the barrage, letting each claim expand and then collapse into the studio air. The longer the pauses stretched, the more the words seemed to indict themselves. A woman in the third row covered her mouth slowly. A man nearby leaned forward, eyes fixed. Then came the pivot. Kimmel leaned in slightly. His voice dropped lower, intimate, carrying shared recognition rather than confrontation. Interesting. You walked in talking about winners. But the first thing you did was try to shut down a question. That's not strength. That's damage control. In the present, the first layer appeared on the main screen. An old clip of Trump dismissing concerns about leadership and personal conduct as entertainment or exaggeration. Hanks watched it with steady eyes, then asked a reframing question that connected past statements to present realities. Trump denied any issue, calling it ancient history twisted for clicks. Kimmel countered calmly. Individual audience members reacted, one pressing fingertips to closed eyelids, another shaking his head slowly. Brief silence followed, thick with implication. Dual timelines ran side by side. In the past, public statements and appearances had built a carefully maintained image. In the present, Kimmel reached under the desk slowly. He placed a folder on the table. Official records, cross-referenced timelines, documented patterns. Trump's image shifted, hand gesturing sharply. Kimmel's hand stayed firm. The camera caught the tension. This isn't rumor, Kimmel said. This is the scaffolding. Trump pushed back with increased volume. The timeline activated on the LED wall. Dates, public claims, outcomes, and gaps aligned with visual clarity. Trump tried speaking over it. Kimmel and Hanks slowed the delivery, each connection landing deliberately. These dates don't just match. They reveal scaffolding, built to hold an image that no longer stands on its own. Past recollections of staged moments merged with present audio. A raw recording played. Trump's voice from a private setting, unguarded. Forensic verification, overlaid clearly. The audience response was physical. Trump claimed manipulation. Verification stood. Another heavy silence enveloped the theater. Witnesses emerged. The first, a former staffer involved in event logistics, spoke with procedural detail. I rehearsed walking away 6 times in the parking garage before I came inside, he said, voice steady yet tired. Trump attacked credibility. The staffer absorbed it without retreat. His closing line came quiet. That belief cost me more than any lawsuit ever could have. The second witness, from deeper in the circle, fingers gripping until colorless, throat working before words, a tear falling unwiped. She spoke of pressure, enforced facades, personal cost. Trump accused betrayal. She answered with breaking yet clear voice. Silence doesn't protect anyone. It just makes the people who enforce it more comfortable. The audience broke in slow waves. One person stood. Others followed. Clapping began deliberate and raw, spreading person to person, acknowledging the truth entering the light, not spectacle. The foreign files completed the cascade on split screen. Alignments undeniable. Trump's denials fractured into procedural outrage. The scaffolding remained exposed. The collapse accumulated across channels. Trump's breathing turned ragged on the feed. Hands clenched then froze. Posture shrank inward. Voice cracked and trailed. Eyes darted. Sweat at the hairline. Jaw working. Verbal unraveling moved from denial to accusation, complaint, bravado, and finally silence. He opened his mouth. Nothing came. Kimmel's final challenge filled the void. You walked in to control this room. Now answer it. Tom Hanks' statement, aired in full, carried the weight of long silence finally broken. In the present, it landed with moral force. In the past, it connected to years of observed patterns, completing the through line. Backstage chaos showed the human contrast. A camera operator held the shot on the monitor long after cutoff. A floor director stood with headset half off. Trump's team moved frantically. Hanks and Kimmel walked the opposite way in composed quiet. The opposition defined the evening. Digital explosion followed. News anchors replayed moments and let scaffolding linger. Trump's counterpost grew longer and angrier, each denial placed beside the footage. Public conversation shifted to psychology visible in that moment. The phrase, "the scaffolding doesn't lie," trended widely. Dual timelines merged fully at the close. Past construction of image met present dismantling. The inventory of discrepancies stood complete under studio lights. Further witness details painted live reality. Specific instructions recalled. Emotional toll described. Their words transformed documents into human consequence. The collapse extended with production details, subtle audio captures, lighting shifts deepening shadows on the remote feed. Every choice reinforced rawness. Aftermath rings continued outward. Producers rewound segments. Sentiment shifted across lines. The central statement from Hanks kept circulating. Counter-evidence remained incomplete. The question lingered. Power often depends on maintained scaffolding. Truth arrives when someone of Hanks' stature chooses to examine it publicly. Once aired fully, as Kimmel did tonight, it becomes impossible to fully restore. If this full statement changed how you see the space between silence and accountability, subscribe right now and turn on notifications. The next confrontation is already building. The people who subscribe come from moments like this. This story isn't over. It's just getting started.